Welcome in for the Thursday edition of Let's Bet It. I'm Alex Glaze. He's Jared Smith. Jared, we got a lot to get to today with the big Thursday night football game. I was excited about it. Got some COVID issues, some injuries to navigate through. We're going to get into all that with our guy, John Hyslop. And, of course, we are going to talk about my laser sharp college football picks. And then, of course, we're going to finish things off with our play of the day. So without further ado, let's bet it. And let's start with college football before we get into the Thursday night football action, because I got some picks that I'm liking here.
Blame on me.
I'm gonna go back to the well, because one of my favorite plays, if you'll remember last Thursday, was Pitt against Clemson, right? You know, we were talking about Clemson getting points. When's the last time that happened? Pitt covered that number pretty easily. I'm going back to the well, and I'm gonna lay the 9.5 with Pitt against Miami this weekend, mostly because I just believe in that Pitt offense. I mean, when you look at Pitt and what they've been able to do, Kenny Pickett, I mean, he's as advertised, right? I think he's, grown into that Heisman discussion. He's legitimate. That offense is legitimate. They score at a high clip. And Miami's defense is one of the worst in the ACC against the pass. So I like that on my side. And also, Tyler Van Dyke, the third string quarterback for Miami, he's been serviceable, but he hasn't faced a defense like Pitt's, a veteran defense, a very solid defense. And on that Pitt side, they got a couple Florida boys. They got a couple Miami guys, that want to beat Miami, that's a sense of pride for them. So all that put together, I like Miami to cover that number. What do you think?
I'm kind of against you on this one. I got this one really early in the week, so I got 12.5 with Miami. The market has definitely agreed with me. Now that it's moved to under 10, yes, now is when the Pitt money likely will start to step in, and I would guess that this line closes, right around 10-ish. To me, Tyler Van Dyke's played a little bit better, I think, than you're giving him credit for. That NC State defense that he carved up last week for 4 touchdowns, pretty good. That was an NC State defense that has shown me some pretty decent things this year. So I wouldn't be so quick to write off the Hurricanes because of Tyler Van Dyke. Yeah, NC State's all right. They're only I think they're a top. I didn't check. I was trying to check while you were talking there, but I think they're top 30 in points per game allowed. I know they're in the top 50 of yards per play allowed. So I think that NC State defense is pretty decent. And the one thing that scares me about laying a big number with Pitt, is there any spot that you start to think, okay, now they're starting to hear all the positive things. They just beat Clemson. They've played so well this year. Now they're playing a noon game against Miami at home. Any letdown potential there is where I would – and I think that's why the market moved against Miami.
I'll tell you why. I hear what you're saying. I don't think that, because I think that Pitt believes that they still have a shot at the college football playoff. If they win the ACC, I mean, I know that that Western Michigan loss is a bad loss, right?
Yes,
but I think that if they can win convincingly and then win the ACC, I mean, a one-loss ACC champ, I mean, who knows with all the craziness that could happen over the next couple of weeks. I think that they're trying to build that resume. So that's why I don't worry about them in a big spot. I think that they're dialed in and they're going to handle business.
The one other thing I'll mention, so Pitt's been playing pretty well against the number 3-0 in their last 3 games. Those are all ACC games, but all those games were less than a touchdown favorites. Now, again, you're moving the market significantly over that touchdown threshold. That's why I think the money has come in on Miami. That's why I think this line has moved from 12.5 now down to 9.5. I probably wouldn't bet Miami at 9.5 because, again, you're losing a full field goal of value. But if I had to err on the side of, is this game going to be close or is it going to be a Pitt, blowout, I would lean on this game is going to be a little bit closer than I think some of the experts believe.
All right. Well, let's go on to what I think is the best game of the weekend here. We got Georgia, Florida. Georgia laying another big number, 14 points here. When I look at this game, I start by saying no team has scored more than 13 points on Georgia this season. Right? Like it starts there. And then I just think that this is a bad matchup for Florida because, first of all, Dan Mullen's coming out saying he's going to play both quarterbacks. And you know what? You got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. So there's that. And then the other thing Florida does really well, they run the football. They're averaging over 250 yards per game on the ground. Georgia's only given up 62 yards per game. So big discrepancy there. They shut down Arkansas, shut down Kentucky. Those are 2 teams that are pretty good running the ball there. So I think this is just a bad matchup for Florida on that side. And then on the defensive side too, there's a lot of chatter about Florida defensive coordinator Todd Grantham and his seat getting a little bit warm. So, Florida's defense has had its troubles, and, that Georgia offense, whether it's Stetson Bennett or JT Daniels, who comes back this week, they've been able to roll. They've been able to put up points. The only concern I have is like the Kentucky game. Georgia, they take their foot off the gas late.
Yeah.
And they just try to get out of there. And then, somewhat similar to what Mark Stoops did in that Kentucky game, I could see a little backdoor cover in this game. But 14 is what I'm seeing on DraftKings. I'll take the 14 and a half. I'll get a little nervous. Georgia 5-2 against the spread. I'll lay the 14 with Georgia.
Yeah, market's pretty settled here. I'm seeing a lot of the action, a lot of the early handle here on Georgia, but we haven't really seen a significant move off of 14. I see South Point Caesars right now taping this Thursday morning-ish, hanging 14 and a half, win 14 and a half. So there's a few 14 and a halves out there. So a few sports books are brave enough to move it off that key number. I don't see a ton of edge on either side here. Both defenses actually great, analytically are looking pretty good. Florida, not as good as Georgia, actually, obviously. Georgia's got the best defense in the nation. I don't need to get into those numbers. But Florida's not bad. Top 30 opponent points per game, top 30 opponent yards per play. So they've done a good job holding opposing offenses in check this year. And, of course, they play in the SEC, so you can't really fault their schedule. Both teams coming off of a bye, so no real edge there. Florida, of course, has had 2 weeks to sit and stew after that crazy game against LSU. So I would expect Florida to come out with a little fire. But this game's always funky. And if you're going to give me 2 touchdowns in a game that, for the most part has been a relatively back and forth matchup between these two very good college football programs, I certainly can't fault you for taking 14 there.
Okay. I wouldn't take the 14 with Florida.
You're on Georgia. I'm sorry.
I'm on Georgia. No. I thought you were. Look, if you're taking 14 with Florida, you are a brave soul, because Florida has not looked good the past couple of weeks. I mean, they just haven't. They got a lot of things that they got to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, based on the lack of market movement, this is probably a stay away for me. But I could see valid points on both sides. If Georgia's defense plays as well as they played this season, you're right. Florida's going to struggle to score in this game. But I think the back door, because of the flukiness of these games, the back door is in a 2-touchdown game with a team as good as Florida, with weapons like Florida, there's going to be a play in this game where you're like, oh man, Florida might cover this. I'm sure there's going to be some moments where the Gators will be in this game.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the Big Ten. Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan laying 3.5 points. What are your thoughts on this game when you look at it?
Let me pull up the market here and see what I'll be honest. This is one of those games when I think about the game on paper. I think give me points. Give me points, and it's
rivalry.
moved from 2.5 to 4. So obviously, and that's, to be honest with you, I would say that's a little reverse line movement, because it looks like the majority of handle here is on Michigan State. I'm seeing 65, and again, it's only Wednesday or Thursday. There's still 2 more days of market, movement that can happen before Saturday. This is a noon game on Saturday. But I do see it does look like some reverse line movement towards Michigan, and it's through a key number. So I would say Michigan is the sharper side right now. But that being said, I would not fault anybody for taking 4 points at home with Sparty, because their defense, Mel Tucker, everything that I've seen from Michigan State this year has been very positive. And I would probably err on the side of taking the points, but it does look like the sharp move through 3 to 4. Despite most of the action on Sparty, it looks like, the Wolverines are kind of getting some of that smart money here at this early stage of the week.
Yeah, Michigan is the side that I'm on. I mean, it's tough to back Jim Harbaugh in this spot, because Michigan under Harbaugh, they don't win in this spot on the road against ranked teams. I think they're 0-5 in that spot through his tenure. Wow. But I see this as kind of like an even matchup, right? And low scoring, which makes the points even more valuable, like you're saying. But I looked, the last time I saw Michigan State, they struggled against Indiana. They couldn't run the ball. Peyton Thorne didn't look great, and that Michigan defense is a whole lot better than Indiana's. The thing that I'm interested to see when I'm looking at Michigan, because I do think that Michigan State has a good defense aside from their defensive backs, right? I just don't know if Cade McNamara is going to be able to take advantage of that. Michigan quarterback, Cade McNamara.
We've said that every week. We said that against Nebraska. We said it against a lot of teams. He shut us up.
if Michigan's going to, make a statement in this game, I think it's going to be because Cade McNamara shows up and shows out. So
yeah,
I'll lay the points with Michigan. I don't like how many favorites I'm on this week. I don't like that. I just realized I'm on three straight favorites.
That's like okay. That. Listen, I think when you do that, you psych yourself out, because it's kind of like when you're taking a multiple choice test on Scantron and you see you've marked like 5 straight C's. You're like, oh no, there's no way that there's 5. You have no idea. You look at the games and you just make the pick that best suits you, and you move on. Next game.
That being said, the next game, I am not on the favorite.
There we go.
I'm going to take the points with West Virginia at home against Iowa State. They're getting 7.5. I love getting the full touchdown and the hook there. Iowa State coming off a big win against Oklahoma State last week. This feels like a letdown spot for me. And West Virginia coming off the bye. Mountaineers at home. Completely different team when they're playing at home. So I'm going to take the points. You give me a touchdown, I'm going to take it against Iowa State.
The one thing that scares me is West Virginia's offense, which has struggled this year. 97th in points per game, 70th in yards per play. And Iowa State, listen, say what you want about that game against Oklahoma State. That game, you played that game 100 times. It could have been a 50-50 who wins and who loses. It was that close of a game. It was a really, really good football game to watch. I was unfortunate. A little bit I don't want to say unlucky, but anytime a team wins and doesn't cover, that doesn't happen a lot, especially in the NFL, but it doesn't happen a lot in college football either. Usually the teams that win, especially the shorter spreads, it was under a touchdown last week. Usually the teams that win do end up covering. So I would say Iowa State, laying it on the road with Brock Purdy is tough, and you should feel confident that the hook got evaporated very quickly. In fact, I see a 6.5 at win. So the market has pushed West Virginia down, which is good. That's good news for your bet. There's still some 7s out there that you can get with the Mountaineers. The only concern I would have would be if West Virginia's offense really struggles against a really good Iowa State defense. And I think Iowa State got over the hump. They haven't won a lot of those big games. They've been in a lot of them, but they haven't won a lot of those big games. They finally won one. And maybe that momentum carries them. But I do think if I had to bet this from a gambling perspective, I think 7 and a hook for sure. 7 still would be a favorable number. And if it goes to 6.5,
under a touchdown, I don't know, but I'd play it at 7.
Sure. Absolutely. Especially because it looks like the market's moving towards West Virginia. So if you play it at 7 now, decent chance it's 6.5 across the board on Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'm excited for Saturday, but we got some action tonight. So I want to bring in our guy, John Hyslop, real quick. John, what's going on?
What's up, man?
There he is.
I was going to wear my black sweatshirt.
I should have mentioned it. We got
funeral time.
We're either going to a funeral or we're going to a goth convention. I don't know.
Funeral time, ready to kill it tonight. That's what we're doing.
I like it.
Thursday night football. Listen, it looked great. Last week around this time, this one looked great. We got Packers, Cardinals. Obviously, we're dealing with some issues we're going to have to navigate with COVID. We got Devontae Adams out. We got Adam Lazard out. We got the Packers defensive coordinator out. And the Cardinals, now J.J. Watt, going to be missing this game as well. So a lot to navigate here. Packers getting 6.5 points in this game. And I'm going to just start right there. Give me the 6.5 points with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to take the points. Listen, what was it, 3.5 before all the COVID stuff? I mean, you're telling me that Devontae Adams, and I think that moved to 6 before the Adam Lazard news came out. So you're telling me Devontae Adams scored 2.5 points? I am not buying that at all. I'm going to take the 6.5 points with 12 all day, every day. And I think that they just find a way on a short week to gut this one out, maybe win outright, but I'm definitely going to take the 6.5 points.
That'd be a big upset. I think if the Cardinals lost this game at home, short week, you didn't even mention that the defensive coordinator for the Packers also is having some issues as well, Joe Barry. So I think there's a lot of negatives around Green Bay in this game. But you're right. The market is the market for a reason. And this was 3.5 a week ago. And you're telling me that I'm not looking too much into coaches missing time. We've seen Cliff Kingsbury miss a game and the Cardinals were fine. So that doesn't bother me as much.
Because of Devontae Adams.
The Devontae Adams, 3 points for Devontae Adams is a lot for a receiver. That's a lot. And I think the market has moved too much. From a spread perspective, I think Arizona, I couldn't lay it with Arizona.
Yeah, it's a rally spot, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're right though. It's Aaron Rodgers. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm not.
What other quarterback would you want in this spot? Like he's going to find a way. He's going to find a way.
He's magic. He's magic. Well, in the player prop market, this is just awesome because chaos rules.
You love chaos.
It's like, yeah, I'll take it. Like who else is out? Like just throw them out. Tony Lyman's out. Like, whatever. You know, because they can't. Like they don't know what they're going to see tonight. I mean,
it's true.
The first one I looked at was Mercedes Lewis over 2.5 receptions, plus 150.
Wow.
Come on. Like, how's he not going to catch 3 balls? Like, we don't know what we're going to see. He caught 3 balls last week, and Devontae Adams was there. I mean, he's not on the field much, which that's obviously not good because it's tough to catch balls when you're on the field. But, dude, we don't know what we're going to see. Devontae Adams, I think, is like his target. I can't remember his target rate, but it's pretty high.
It's stupid.
It's insane. And he's got someone else has to catch those passes.
Exactly.
And I think they're going to be behind at some point. So I don't think Aaron Jones is going to, be like a workhorse tonight in the backfield. I think they're going to move him around a lot because they need someone to kind of make up for the production that they're missing from Adams.
Who's it going to be?
It's going to be the guy that Aaron Rodgers handpicked to come to the squad. It's going to be Randall Cobb over 4.5 receptions. Those are my 2 plays for this game. Give me the 6.5 and give me Randall Cobb over 4.5 receptions. Aaron Rodgers asked for this dude to be on his team. He's comfortable with him. Mm-hmm. On a short week, you go with the guys that you know, that you can trust.
Yep.
4.5 receptions, give it to me all day.
It's plus 120 too. That was my other one too. So basically, you take 2 Packers pass catchers with very low bars to clear. Hope that Arizona jumps out to a little lead. And they will. Here's the thing: the Cardinals can't stop the run. They're literally, I think they're second to last in
look that up.
Opponents' yards per rush, which is good for us because that keeps us on the field. Like that keeps us out of, 2nd 8, 2nd 9, stuff like that. So if they can just stay on the field, we're good. Randall Cobb, dude.
Wow, you're right. They're giving up 5 yards per rush per game. Green Bay's giving up almost 5 too.
Hold on. You guys are giving out my play of the day. Hold on. Okay. We'll get there.
All right, fine. I'll follow up with a really good stat on why Randall Cobb is going to have a good night. Ready? I'll reinforce that handicap for you guys.
Okay.
So the Cardinals, in my eyes, this is a perfect matchup for Randall Cobb. They have given up the 2nd most touchdowns and the 3rd most yards per game to slot receivers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Love Randall Cobb tonight, not only in the yards receptions market, but over 2-1 to score a touchdown tonight. The total's 51. Someone's scoring tonight for Green Bay. They're probably going to score 3 times. It's math. They're supposed to score 3 touchdowns tonight. I think Randall Cobb is going to get one of those 3.
Yep.
All right, Jared, what else do you want?
I think Christian Kirk is a guy that I'm willing to target in the receiving yards market for Arizona. 13 targets in his last 2 weeks. We obviously know about A.J. Green and DeAndre Hopkins. So do the Packers. Those are going to be the guys that I think the Packers defense, which has not been great, will single out. The one thing I will note about the Packers defense, so they're 24th in DVOA, and they have played, and they're fortunate that they've had a really easy schedule. Listen to the offenses that they've played this year, Green Bay. New Orleans with Jameis, up and down. The Lions, the Steelers,
not good.
The Bears, Washington. They have played the Bengals and the Niners, who have been mediocre, I would say. Bengals probably the best of the bunch. But they could have, they maybe should have lost that game against the Bengals. Yeah. Exactly. So the Cardinals team total tonight at 28.5, I think they're going to going to make some moves in this game. I think this is a game that Kyler Murray, this is the first primetime game for the Cardinals this year. They beat the Rams. They had some nice wins, but we haven't seen that statement game in primetime against the guy with the playoff resume like Aaron Rodgers. I think Kyler Murray's got something to prove tonight. We talk about Aaron Rodgers being undervalued in this game. I think Kyler Murray wants to show the world that Arizona's ready. And I expect this Cardinals offense to come out really hot and very aggressive tonight.
I would love that because that means our pass catchers are definitely going to see some work. Score. Just keep scoring.
And then the only other thing I have is I'm glad Jack, our producer, mentioned this with Zach Ertz. I do have him to score a touchdown tonight to a plus 225. And I think the reason is if Arizona wants to win the Super Bowl this year, they're going to need a tight end with Zach Ertz's quality to control that red zone. And this is now his second game. I think they're going to want to keep getting him involved early to make him feel comfortable. So I think I don't want to say force feed, but I would be very surprised if he doesn't get at least 1 or 2 looks in the red zone tonight.
Okay. I'll go with that.
I'm good with it.
Listen, sounds like we found a way to make tonight's game a lot more interesting than maybe some believe it will be. I think it's going to be still a great game.
Who knew gambling could make things more interesting?
Who knew that could give you a reason to watch even when there's no reason to watch?
Yeah, I never knew.
All right, let's get into our Pickswise play of the day. But Jared, before we get into our personal plays, is there a 3-star play on the website for tonight? There's a lot to sift through. We got some NHL, some NBA. We got Thursday Night Football. We got any 3-star plays?
Unfortunately not. There are some 3-star plays for Saturday, and I'll give you an under in the Indiana-Maryland game. Our buddy Connor Grutenhuis, apologize if I mispronounce Connor's last name. He's on the under 49 and a hook in Indiana at Maryland. Good luck betting unders in college football. Not my cup of tea, but Connor's been really solid betting them this year, so make sure to give that a look. And I'm on a couple puck picks tonight. I'll give them out. I don't have a ton of real strong handicaps on them, but I've been sprinkling in the hockey world because I do like betting hockey, and I'm trying to stay consistent, giving out at least 1 or 2 picks or at least betting 1 or 2 picks a night. I'm on the Lightning on the puck line at home against Arizona. Arizona, I think, is the worst team in hockey. And I'm on the Sharks at home tonight. I think San Jose, we talked to Pete Jensen a little bit earlier in the week. San Jose is an undervalued team, I think, and they're laying just 25 cents tonight at home against Montreal, who's been one of the worst teams in hockey to start the year. So Sharks money line, Lightning minus 1.5 if you want some puck picks tonight on the ice.
Listen, I'm not liking the slander. Don't slander us Warriors who love a good college football under. Who just love
sweating it out,
gutting it out to the final whistle, just watching the game with your arms crossed, just miserable the whole time. Listen, those are the games that make you a man. You just sit there and
you ever watch games though with under guys? It's miserable. Every time it's the first down.
John, have you ever been an under in your entire career?
No, I don't watch it. If I do, I won't watch. I'm serious because it's not. It changes.
It's not an enjoyable experience. But I will say this: the one reason why sharps like betting unders and underdogs is because when the game starts, you're already ahead.
Yeah,
and you have to lose. Whereas as a favorite and an over, you have to get across the finish line. Mm-hmm. That's just the mindset.
I like the challenge. What can I say?
Sure, absolutely. Every game, there's no wrong or right answer.
All right, let's get into our personal plays. I'm going to get my play of the day here. It is Aaron Jones over 57.5 rushing yards. We kind of got into that a little bit with Arizona's struggles against the run. They're in the bottom half of rushing yards per game given up to opponents. Also, like you guys mentioned, they're giving up, 5 yards per attempt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And listen,
it's really bad.
12's got to find a way to get it done tonight. And the easiest way to do that, especially on a short week, running the football.
And no J.J. Watt.
Keeping Kyler Murray off the field and just extending drives, killing clock, and keeping things moving. What better way to do that than with Aaron Jones? So 57.5, really low total for me, so I'm going with that.
Don't hate it. Slop, go ahead. Give it to us, buddy. I know this is a fun one. I like this one.
Dude, all right. So I don't even believe that this is like a real line, even though I still don't understand why this would happen. But Julius Randle over a half of a block. So
he's one.
Just one block.
is plus 225 on DraftKings, which is where I saw it. And then on BetMGM, it's at 260 plus 260.
I'm going to bet this right after we get off the air on the
one
show.
block. I mean, all right, so I get that it's kind of a coin flip.
Sure.
Because, I mean, he's had 2 games where he didn't get a block, but he's had a 4-block game and a 3-block game. So that's big. He's 12th in the NBA in blocks per game. I mean, I know it's only been 4 games, but I can only go on what I've seen. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just make up stats, even though stats are for losers. But still, that's what the stats say. So there's like, 1,000 people in the NBA? 12. That's pretty good. So let's stay there.
You just need one.
One block. I mean, dude, if a guy accidentally falls down and he's that's a block. You know what I mean? That counts. Like, you win, you're plus 260. He could literally accidentally get a block tonight, and you're getting plus 260. Now, if you go back through, who are they playing? The Bulls. You go through their game logs. The last game they played the Raptors. The Raptors can't block shots. That's not what they do. They miss 3. They don't block shots. You know what I mean? That's your team. So take that game out. Now go back. They played the Pistons twice. Jeremy Grant had 4 blocks one night against them. He kind of plays the same position. He had another game where he had a block too. So in 2 games, Jeremy Grant's got a block each game. Herbert Jones, this guy's first ever NBA game had a block against him. I mean, these are facts. You know what I mean? This is.
Please tell me you are watching this. Please tell me you're going to watch this game.
I'm going to watch the whole thing. Now, all right, here's the thing with stats. You have to watch the whole game because you're just waiting and you
don't care about anything, just the block. You don't care about anything else.
You never know what's going to happen. You're just sitting there, just watch, like, come on, like you're watching the ball, like, come on, go to that guy. You see a switch and he gets like a point guard and you start screaming, come on, like take him to the rack because you know it's going to end up in the seats. You know what I mean? And
man,
one block, guys, plus 260. That's ridiculous. Like that's literally.
I'll say this. Evan Fournier's got the same number tonight, and that doesn't make sense to me. How does Evan Fournier have the same number to block a shot?
It's like plus 210.
That doesn't make sense.
3 blocks. And I think 2 of them came like accidentally. Like the guy fell down.
Julius Randle's a guy that if he wanted to defend, he could probably block anyone's shot.
And he didn't get a block last game. And hopefully he watches this show and decides,
I'm sure he watches
I need to step it up for Slop. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure he watches the show. I'll text him afterwards and I'll say, hey, make sure you tune in today.
One block. We're not asking for a lot. One block. You know how good it must feel to block an NBA player's shot?
So absolutely.
Too. You know what I mean?
It feels good when I block my little cousin's shot who's 16 years old in the driveway. I mean, and he
I mean,
all right, Jared, what are you on tonight?
So it's funny. Plays of the day are so tough for me because I give out like 5 picks in a show, and then the one pick I give for play of the day is the one loser. Yeah. But of the plays that I gave out for Thursday night, I think the one I like the best is the Cardinals team total. I was going back and forth with the Christian Kirk over, but I would feel really crappy if the Cardinals go completely bonkers tonight against this really bad Packers defense. And Kirk's like the one guy that gets left out. So I'll spread the wealth around, and I'll say this Cardinals defense again, or this Cardinals offense again, has something to prove tonight. And they get a Packers defense that has really not played a lot of explosive offenses this year. And I think, short week, no defensive coordinator, maybe that doesn't have a huge impact, but maybe it'll impact a couple of things. And I would err on the side of Arizona's offense out-manning, out-gunning this Packers defense. That's the biggest mismatch of this game for me. Arizona's looked so good on offense, and the Packers have looked so bad on defense. I just don't see Green Bay slowing down Kyler Murray and company tonight. So we'll go over 28.5 team total for the Arizona. I haven't bet a team total all year. First time all year. And this we'll hold our breath tonight. We'll try to get across the finish line with the Cardinals over 28.5.
Now, if you're betting the over 28.5, you got to be on the over for the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that makes sense. But I think overall, the Packers' offensive issues, I'm not as confident that they're going to have an on par game with their with their usual offensive numbers because of I just don't know. They could, and if they do, this over is going to fly. And yes, that's a good bet as well. I just feel more confident about Arizona's offense against Green Bay's defense. So I'm singling out that one matchup, but I have no issues playing an over in this game because if you do believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to play well even without his complement of weapons, this game should fly over the total.
Plus overs are fun.
Of course.
You got
more
that.
fun
I mean, unders are fun too. It just depends on what you're into.
Yeah, I
enjoy
if you're a masochist.
I enjoy a good under.
Glass half empty guy. Yeah, take the under.
All right. Well, either way, we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. We're on Aaron Jones, Cardinals team total, and Slop. You're looking out for that Julius Randle block. You're not flipping your channel. I don't know your TV situation. You're not changing the channel. Julius Randle gets that block.
I'm actually going to be at bowling tonight during this game.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun.
Bowling night, guys. It's bowling night. So
with the kids?
No. They're home. It's like 8:45. It's
too late.
Definitely a beer league. Probably gonna have some beers, and then so it's gonna be on there. So I should be all set.
Nice.
All right. Enjoy that. Beautiful night planned for myself.
Love it.
Well, good luck.
Self-care.
Good luck with your bowling, and good luck to all of you with your picks tonight. That'll do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Let's Bet It.